when you have an agency that you've grown and that you need to trust somebody to run ads or social media or do some SEO, you want somebody that's got, just checks all the boxes and can think independently in a way. I always joke that instead of VAs, you've got to hire bad A's.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the High Level Spotlight Sessions, where we showcase awesome marketers doing awesome marketing. Today, I'm joined by James Zolman. He's the co-founder and CMO of Grunt Workers, an HR partner for digital marketing agency owners and managers. James, thanks so much for coming on.
Chase, it's a pleasure. I always love chatting with you.
Yeah, we've had some good chats in the past. I absolutely love the name of your company, Grunt Workers, the logo, the whole look and feel. It's great. You've got the bear motif going on, if you guys haven't picked up on that yet. But James, I think Grunt Workers is really interesting to me because it goes much further than a typical staffing type of service, I think.
Sure.
How did you get this going? Did you have an agency at one point and you were doing this for yourself, or how did Grunt Workers come to be?
Yeah, great question. When I first started, way back 16, 17 years ago this year, I got Google AdWords certified. It was AdWords at the time, right? So I figured, what am I going to do with this? I need to start an agency to get more experience so that I can learn on someone else's dime. I was young and I figured that would be the smart thing to do. So yeah, I did it. It took me 2 years of running that agency before I outsourced to my first team member and had a really good experience, which at the time, this was maybe 2005-ish. A lot of people were telling me about horror stories of outsourcing marketing, outsourcing technical development for the web, because it had matured by that time, but it was still fairly new. There was a lot of new things going on in the web at the time, especially on the marketing side. So yeah, I had my first taste of outsourcing at that time. And, I got out of the agency and did my own affiliate marketing, just the cutthroat stuff. And in finances, we did some wealth products, health products, and more, and just kind of cut my teeth in that crazy space and had a lot of fun. Every time I partnered with somebody, we were able to turn an affiliate marketing company into a 7-figure business, which was a lot of fun. I lost a lot of money learning how to market, but every single time I was outsourcing. And most recently, I was the CMO in a business partnership relationship at an info products business where we built coaching programs ourselves and sold coaching and big ticket items. And we had affiliates marketing for us, but we also had our own ad spend. We were spending over $1 million per month, and we were getting great cash flow back from it. The problem was that with a small team, we had to scale, and I looked to outsourcing again and started getting everybody their own digital marketing assistant for every part of the company, from ad management to graphics to video editing and more, CRM management and email marketing, just every single piece that comes together in a digital marketing firm. We were kind of the in-house digital marketing firm at that point because we had multiple products. And it was just a pain, Chase. It was so painful to put up a job listing, go through the vetting process. We had our HR team to help us, but to find the right people with the right experience and to make sure that we could trust them, it was just such a painful experience. And I thought, there's got to be a better way. I want something as a CMO. I want something that I can just subscribe to, that they give me pre-vetted talents that I can trust, 19 times out of 20. When we're working with people, it can't ever be 100% perfect. Sure. But I need good terms. I need good talent. I couldn't find anything out there that matched it. There's a few networks out there that say they work with the top 1%. And we tried some of those, but it just wasn't what I was looking for as a marketer and as a CMO. So I decided, I'm going to start this. I bought Grunt Workers years ago, and I went through, I think I had like 17 different financial models for different businesses. And I think it was the 4th or 5th one that was a task-based and digital marketing based. And I picked that one up and said, this matches my need. And this was 3 years later, after kind of going through these ideas and building these models out. Yeah. So 3 years later, I had this domain just parked, and I was like, you know what? That's the name of the business. So we launched 2 years ago, January 2020. Actually, this is our second birthday this month.
Congrats. Happy
At the time that we're
birthday.
recording this. Yeah, thank you. It's gone exceptionally well. People catch the vision. We've pivoted from serving CMOs and every digital marketer to serving agencies, because one thing we found is that somebody to report to that knows digital marketing exceptionally well really up levels the talent game. And also that communication is just so crucial to make sure that everybody's on the same page. So digital agencies became the de facto, and we're supporting dozens of them now, and it's a blast.
That's awesome. So you guys basically take the Wild West out of the process of finding VAs and remote help, right? Like I've talked about this before on other interviews, where we at the agency that I used to run hired many people out of the Philippines from Online Jobs PH. And it was so hit or miss. It was such a crapshoot, and it was so many crazy, just didn't work out, blew up, like terrible experiences, until you got to like that one diamond, that one gem that ended up sticking with us. And we had, several folks that worked with us for years, but man, there was a lot of pain in between. And so talk to me a little bit more about how you guys take that compared to what you guys do.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we source some from online jobs as well. If you ever join online jobs, you'll probably see all of our listings. I mean, you'll probably see 5 or 6 of them because we refresh them every single day, and we're always at the top. And in fact, we've had a few agencies call us and say, hey, it looks like you're doing something cool there. Tell us about yourselves. Which I love. I mean, it's very cool. So I definitely recommend that. But like you said, it is kind of the hit or miss. Even on other networks that I love and I've used extensively, Upwork, Fiverr, all of these others, I do think that for projects, they're great, but you do want to try to buy into like 3 or 4 of them, because one of them is going to be just insanely awesome and work out. So with online jobs, we've got about 7 or 8 other sources, other job boards specifically to the Philippines. We do sourcing from Facebook, LinkedIn, other social media sources out there. They're super active. The Philippine culture, they're super active on social media. So we do pride ourselves on having a really, really good recruiting team. And it does take us, though, to get the top quality talent that we're looking for. It takes us at least 200 interviews and application reviews and next level validation of portfolios to find those rock stars. And I always like to joke that in the world of VAs, and not, there's nothing wrong with the world of VAs. We love the world of VAs. We use them. We love VAs. But when you're looking at specialist type of work, when you have an agency that you've grown and that you need to trust somebody to run ads or social media or do some SEO, you want somebody that's got, just checks all the boxes and can think independently in a way. I always joke that instead of VAs, you've got to hire bad A's. And that's kind of the level that we try to think of ourselves here at Grunt Workers, and it's working. It's we do the hire slowly piece for you. We do the recruiting, we do the vetting, and then you still get a choice. You still get to interview the best candidates that we can find at the time for you, and make your own choice for the best company culture fit for your company. So yeah.
And then you guys even go further than that, right? Do you manage payroll and stuff?
Yeah. So as an HR partner, we really do take on that international or outsourcing HR role for you. So we've partnered with other HR teams internally at companies or agencies, or we end up being that de facto outsourcing HR partnership and team for a lot of agencies. And what that means is, after you choose somebody to be on your team, we bring them in-house here at Grunt Workers, and we put them on our payroll, and you pay just a flat fee. We cover within that flat fee, it's health insurance. There's this amazing food benefit that we give out. We give them enough of a cash credit on a grocery store. It's like this gift card thing that goes out to their mobile phones every single month. And it's enough to feed them with a staple, which is rice out there, for up to 4 or 5 people for a month. So we give them this food benefit. And in the islands, Pacific Islands, food is a love language. It's how you show people that you appreciate them. And and every one of our team members know that, hey, this is from clients. This is, being administered on behalf of our clients by Grunt Workers. And we have a whole bunch of other Philippine, regulation things that we meet and whatnot to make sure that they're living in comfort. And the salaries that we provide definitely give them a good middle class to upper middle class lifestyle there in the Philippines, which a lot of them, that exceptional talent, some of them haven't had it before. And they've had the experience. They've managed hundreds of thousands of dollars in ad spend, and we get to be able to provide that experience. So it's building a phenomenal culture, a collective.
That's really cool. And those pieces are, it's really interesting. I love it because from the agency side, you don't want to have to go figure all that out, right? Like, definitely not. From the talent side, they're definitely not used to getting that because they're working with agencies that don't want to figure it out, right? Agencies are like, no, we're just going to send you money and like, you're on your own, like take care of your stuff.
Yeah.
And then for them to be like, well, I don't want to deal with all this stuff. Like I'm a graphic designer. I just want to make great designs. Like, that's a really great middle piece. It makes a lot of sense. We were talking before this about high level and how, it's so interesting that because it's white label, we often get the question like, well, what do I do when we get to a world where all agencies are using high level? Like how do I sell against the same thing? And it's like, no. Like high level is like an operating system, but it's your strategy with it and the people that you have on your team that make all the difference, right? No one high level agency is the same as another. And so, I talk a lot about like, it's your strategy that, what you do with the tool, but you made a really strong point of like, yeah, but the people are just as important as the strategy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because you've got to have people to do that grunt work of digital, right? They've got to do the go high level setup. They've got to do the Facebook ads setup and optimization and testing and all of that time consuming stuff that we all get stuck doing from time to time. And as agency owners and agency builders or digital marketing managers, if you're on a smaller team or if you're just up and coming and growing, you're in the trenches doing those tasks yourselves. So yeah, I'm a big proponent, huge fan of Go High Level. In fact, I was in a mastermind this morning. It blew me away. It's a very small mastermind, about 12 people inside of it. And they started listing all the software they use. And then they said, you know what, screw all this. We just use Go High Level. Here's Go High Level, use it. There's no affiliate link. We highly recommend it. We love it. There's no real sales pitch here, except this is where we've moved everything to, and it's absolutely brilliant. So it's so cool to see Go High Level in that part of the world in this mastermind, which oddly enough, it's almost Inception like. It's a mastermind about building masterminds. And here they're saying, you know what, in your own mastermind, use Go High Level for everything because it's awesome. So there's these sub niches out there using it too. So it really is about how you use the tools, how you use the software, which is definitely a competitive advantage. But if everybody has that competitive advantage, then the way to rise above it is definitely in the strategy side. It's in the copywriting. It's in how you use it. And I love that. And we help provide the people, the grunt workers, if you will, which is our name, right? to help run that type of stuff. And as an HR partner, we add coaching over the top of that. So not only do we do like the payroll admin, benefits admin, and whatnot, we have weekly coaching calls to keep people in a positive mindset, to keep people productive, but also we have skill sets. So we're watching Go High Level and we're trying to get all the updates that we can from Go High Level and several other CRMs and systems to give the talent that is working on those tools the latest and greatest updates technically, while they can go back to the agency and say, okay, hey, I just learned about this that's coming out from Go High Level. Do you want us to start testing this and using this for our clients? And then it's up to the agency to say, hey, do we want to fold this into the strategy or do we want to leave that to the side for now? Cool. So yeah, it's really a lot of fun to be that HR partner, providing that education and that motivation, just like an internal HR team would.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the strategy versus people versus software and tools. Absolutely love that discussion. Thank you for bringing that up. That's awesome. I'm a huge fan of that.
So speaking of people, we the last thing I wanted to talk to you about that we were talking about before is the biggest of all the agencies that you've worked with. You're like, there's one thing that stands out as the biggest gap or challenge that agency owners face as they scale, right? Most of us start as a one-man shop, 1 or 2 people. You get to 10K, 15K, you're like, we're going to need some help here. Making that jump is often very challenging. And I thought you pretty astutely pointed out why.
Yeah, absolutely. So over the past couple of years, I've been able to study this as my 110% focus. I don't have any other side gigs. I don't have any other interests at all. I've gone all in on Grunt Workers because I believe in our mission so much of giving people around the world in maybe different economic situations a really good life because of their talent. And I'm on a mission to do that. And one thing that I've noticed is when we're matching people up from overseas to amazing people here in the US or other English speaking countries or even other foreign language countries that are first world economically speaking, there's this gap that you just mentioned. And the gap is going from task management and being responsible for the outcome of a task to being responsible for a team that has outcomes. So you go from celebrating an outcome that you own and that you control. Let's say you launched a website that you built or put together, or you launched a campaign, you wrote everything, you put everything together in Go High Level, you took it live and it rocks. And now you have to give that experience off to somebody else. You don't get that pride or that win unless it's vicariously through your team. And that gap is really, really hard because you free up your time and then you say, well, what do I do with my time now? And well, they're the ones that did that. I didn't do it. Where's my value? You start questioning your value a little bit. And there's this gap between being a manager and being a task doer. And it is a different set of tasks, a different strategic mindset. You get to focus more on strategies now. You get to focus on internal strategy, how you leverage people, how you leverage tools, what you're going to do for clients and more, and somebody else is actually accomplishing that. But yeah, it's this management gap that a lot of people have to go through mentally, emotionally, and then they have to, I actually have a checklist I can share about it. I can pull it up real quick, a whole bunch of ideas to move to as a new manager, but it's something we share in our onboarding process.
Honestly, I feel like there's so much to unpack here, especially on the psychological side of things, right? Because when your world is tasks, right? Like I remember at a certain point in our agency, I was building different teams, but I was still doing a lot of tasks, right? And it just, it felt good to open up. We didn't have ClickUp back then. We used this thing called Red Booth. To open up my Red Booth, see things that need to be done, knock them out one by one, and be like, whoo, that was a hard day's work, right? But once you delegate and build teams, you're kind of looking around like, but wait, what am I doing? Like, I feel stressed out because I don't have this clear list of things that somebody gave me or the team member sent me to get done. And that process of learning, well, like, wait, like you're saying, I'm not a doer anymore. I'm a leader now. And I need to have different types of tasks that I do every day that are in relation to how do I help the people on my team do their tasks better. And I feel like that can really be mentally challenging, especially if you really loved doing some of the doing, right?
Absolutely.
Like, that can be tough. So I would love to see the list of things that you have to help people get through that.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and I forgot to ask you, Chase, if this is if this is in video form or if it's in podcast form. So I'll try to talk people through it just in case
it'll
you
be
use
both.
audio.
So
okay,
cool.
Perfect. All right, cool. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. And I guess you do get a little bit of my logo in the background there, but it's not much. I want to try to be as generic here, because this is about Go High Level. And we call this process, thanks, Chase. We call this process going from task to team. There's that emotional shift of controlling something super tangible with like real harsh metrics that you can control to working with people. And I always like to joke that, all of us have our own little bucket of crazy. I'm a little bit crazy about some things. Chase is a little bit crazy about other things. You're a little bit crazy about other stuff. And we all have to kind of mesh together somehow and find some common ground and work together to produce even better results. This is in our onboarding documentation. I call it the strategy transfer checklist. There's a whole bunch more in here, but in it, I wrote this myself actually on this one. Instead of outsourcing this, I did this one. So I say your role might change so you can focus on internal and external strategy, and then communicate test ideas and strategies to your new team members so they can implement them for you. And I have two different checklists. I have common internal strategic initiatives and learning opportunities for leaders, and common external strategic initiatives and learning opportunities for leaders. So I'll just pick a few of these, Chase. Some common internal ones is reading and continually learning in your industry, listening to shows like this to try to expand your knowledge, right? Or going through a Go High level training to learn about another piece and see if you want to use that for your clients. Develop the documentation systems. This is the SOP side of things. There's we've recognized this documentation dip. In fact, we call it documentation deficiency. We're fans of alliteration here at Grunt Workers. And this documentation deficiency is, okay, great, you've hired somebody. Now what? You've got to go through the pain of training them, and you've got to invest your time. Your time shifts from doing it to training it and auditing it. And that can be hard because you're going to find mistakes because they're not going to do things the exact way that you do things. But that's how you make money, is teaching others your strategy and how you do things. So developing that documentation, taking courses, joining mentorships groups to learn new strategies and advanced strategies that you can then pass off to your team to implement. Of course, setting goals, do some funnel hacking, understand competitors, social media ads, any other tactics that you can go explore so that you can bring new strategies back to your team. And then some common external ones is algorithms are one of my favorites. Social media is all algorithm based, right? Search engines are all algorithm based. Ad networks, they're all algorithm based. So figuring out those algorithms and understanding those changes and the impact, one of the biggest ones lately has been iOS 14 and privacy, right? Yep. So those are huge algorithmic changes that you will want to research and figure out the analytic solutions for, and find new ways to help your clients succeed, right? Audiences, your clients' audiences, your own audiences, their tastes and preferences change over time. So you'll want to set up studies and situations and analyze results that help you see into that audience and understand, oh, you know what? They're actually going this direction. We need to start developing services for this. You know, it might be a new style of TikTok ads. It might be a new platform like TikTok. TikTok took the world by storm. And if you were an external manager and you were in Facebook ads at the time, and then you hired somebody, you may have been able to spot that trend and jump in and offer that as a service and say, hey, we've got this figured out. We haven't figured out before everybody. It gives you a huge strategic advantage. So anyways, oh yeah, one more, emergencies, right? So COVID-19, everybody had to adapt in some way, shape, or respect for COVID-19. Sure. As a manager, you're the one that's able to do that for your team and for your company. And there are a lot of other suggestions here.
Employee churn is
employee churn.
There's a lot of interesting things on here, and one of them that I would add, or if it's not in there somewhere, is I feel like a lot of times we talk about how, the cobbler's children have no shoes, right? It's like, oh, we never give our agency the same marketing love that we give our clients. But when you delegate and now you all of a sudden have free time, you, for the first time, have the time to go spend it on your own brand, your own agency's marketing, cleaning things up in that realm. That was something that I really loved. The better that I got at delegating was being able to spend more time on our own brand. And so I think you had a lot of that broken out, like the stuff that you're doing as Grunt Workers is things that I think a lot of agencies don't think about, which is putting cool plans in place to keep the team psyched up, energized, comfortable, feeling safe, feeling secure, all these types of things, which are great, again, great things to focus on once you've delegated.
Yes, it's a lot of fun. We love both sides of the equation, the HR side and then helping new leaders. We send messages out around leadership. The leadership training and courses are one of the things that you can do as a new leader. And there's a lot of free stuff out there, brilliant stuff. You can read Harvard Business Review. McKinsey is another great one to follow. I'm on one hand kind of ashamed to admit that I haven't really managed a Google Ads account or Facebook Ads account in years. However, at the same time, that's because I've developed a trust and I've developed that documentation to allow others to do that for me. And I've been able to see a lot of new growth for myself and for the companies that I've been involved with because of that. But it was insanely hard to let that go. I would say maybe finally within the last 5 or 6 years, I finally let it go. I was in the weeds for well over a decade, doing things myself, managing those tasks because I couldn't get over that gap myself. So,
once you do, it's such sweet relief.
It is. It's so sweet. I love that.
What's interesting is we talk about this all the time when we're talking about hiring internally at high level and stuff. And it's like, we want you, as whatever position you're in, if you're hiring underneath you, to hire somebody who has the potential to do whatever the thing is better than you did it.
Yes.
Which can scare people as like, but what do you mean scary. If I replace somebody that's better than me, like, what does that say about me? And it's like, no, trust me. Like, you want to like get somebody who can do it better than you did it or whatever. And when you do find somebody and they, you get them trained and they go through the SOP, like, I just got a new team member, Brandon, who's took over the social media copy from me and just obliterating my efforts. You know what I mean? And every day I love to go see what he's written because it's just so much better than what I was doing.
I love it.
And while that sounds like it might be scary, it's actually fantastic. It's like,
it's exhilarating,
sweet relief that not only do I not have to do that thing every day, we're in a better place because I'm not doing it anymore. So, for those who might be scared or whatever to delegate things away, don't be, because it is a sweet relief, I would say.
Absolutely. Well, and if you understand you're going to go into this zone of discomfort because there is a bridge to walk over, and it can be a pretty long bridge. As long as you know you're going to go into that, I think you can develop the patience and the ability to work through and past a lot of things. So yeah, that's awesome. That's such a good story, Chase. I love hearing that. I'm all for hiring people better than ourselves, and letting go and realizing that, you know what, there's a whole new world for you, a whole new set of Legos that's even bigger than the last one that you had. You just don't know how to put the pieces together just yet, and that can suck. I mean, that's hard. It's hard.
Well, let me ask you a question that I know the audience is waiting for me to ask you.
Sure.
Which is price related. So let's say me going through the pain of going to find my own VA.
Yeah.
What is that typically going to cost versus just going straight through you guys?
Sure. So it definitely depends on your quality standards. We really are and strive to be the best of the best. So you can find people all over the world or in the Philippines to work for a few dollars per hour. That's not us. We're not in the VA world that way. Examples of our talent is we have a whole bunch of ex-Googlers from a Google contract in Manila that served Google Ads Australia, Google Ads New Zealand, and some Google Ads US. Big clients. We've been able to recruit out of there. The same for Facebook, the same for Accenture and some other big consulting firms or big accounting firms and more. So we're definitely going after that career-minded, those big shots, right? And those guys, to give them a good middle-class lifestyle, you're looking at like $15 to $20 an hour, which still isn't, I mean, that's not bad at all, right? But it all depends on, for us, it depends on their experience. It depends on their salary request. It depends on, some of that depends on where they live in the Philippines. If they live in Manila, that's one of the most expensive part of the Philippines to get talent from, but there's incredible talent there. So we have to get talent from there. And if you go further south, surprisingly, geographically, a lot of people don't know this, further, as far as number of islands away from Manila, the less expensive it can get. So it depends on where we find the talent. It depends on their experience. We validate all of their portfolios that come in. So you're going to end up paying maybe closer to 25 or 30 an hour for somebody with 10 plus years of experience, but you'll come down to maybe closer to that 15 to 20 for a rock star that has 3 or 4 years of experience. The average for us is 4.5 years here at Grunt Workers. So we only do experienced people. We don't do any newbie training. Sorry, I interrupted you.
I'm glad I asked, because that's amazing. I didn't know that piece of it. Like, I think when most of us think VAs, it's like, okay, we're going to be starting from scratch, so I need to have really good SOPs.
Yeah.
But to think that, like, holy crap, I could be getting somebody who worked at Google,
super experienced,
for not much more than minimum wage. I mean, that's pretty enticing.
Oh yeah, it's not bad at all. Comparatively, you're saving over 50%. But speaking of jobs really quick, I know some people frown on that, like, oh, I'm giving jobs away. You know, because of that strategy piece we talked about earlier, Chase, we're finding so far, and this is purely anecdotal because we don't have, I mean, we've sourced hundreds of people, but that's not enough of a sample size to say, hey, yes, we're impacting the entire agency world this way.
Right.
We see agencies hiring more strategists, people who don't need to know the exact, button to push inside of Facebook ads or go high level. But what they need to know is they need to know how to be a good analyst. They need to know how to look at the numbers, and they need to know, okay, this audience tweak should move the needle this way. So more business analysts and strategists are getting hired here in the US than ever before, once people start to see the power of leveraging grunt workers or anybody like us. So yeah.
Well, yeah, if you can save on labor in certain areas, you can then go get higher ended talent in other areas that you deem more critical to your agency, for sure.
Yes, I love how you put that. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think if you also factor in the cost of how many misses it takes to get a win, if you're doing it direct, that's a serious cost that you need to consider, not just financially, but I would say emotionally, stressfully. Like, there's a lot to consider there as well. So very cool. Well, James, thank you so much for coming on. The URL is gruntworkers.com, correct?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, gruntworkers.com.
Always a pleasure.
Yep. Hey, real quick, you're welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn or email me directly too. I'm happy to share my email. Is that okay, Chase?
Sure thing. Go for it.
Okay, James.
We'll put it in the post. Yeah. You go ahead and say it, but we'll put it in the post below the video.
Perfect. Yes. James.Zolman@gruntworkers.com. Feel free to reach out to me directly. We're still small enough that I can respond to everybody. Hopefully.
I don't know. After this goes live, you might.
I know. You might swamp me here. Go high level audience, everybody.
Well, I hope we do, man. It sounds like you guys are doing amazing things. So congrats.
It's a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Cool. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you in the next one.